Hello and welcome to the New Normal with Steve Benaquist. I'm New Normal and this is the Steve Benaquist. That's right. You can believe your eyes, you did see the credits. You can believe your ears too, because you heard the music. The theme music to this, the New Normal with Steve Benaquist. However, it is still just I, the New Normal, and unaided by my ex-executive producer Lyle Gerber, with his obnoxious pranks and constant hustling of Waba Grill on these airwaves. So yeah, I've figured out some editing tricks, that's all. I'm teaching myself. I'm like those sharks in that movie with Morton where the sharks are getting smarter. Well, that's me. I'm like them sharks. Ooh, you just saw the Valderrama. That's the Valderrama microphone. We got that up and running. Yeah, we're getting back up to production speed, even without the irritating, jerky Lyle Gerber. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't waste time. We're doing this only once a week these days. Used to be 5 days a week. If Trump comes back, maybe we'll do that. Or maybe if there's some sort of war. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get through everything that we're going to talk about this week. And here's your table of contents. Oh, wait, I pointed down in the way like, hey, look below. You can subscribe. I don't really do that enough on this show anymore. I should encourage you to subscribe and like it, and frankly, share it. If you like this show, you find it entertaining, you find it informative, this is your quick and easy guide to the new normal, and it hopefully comes out at noon. It's helping you through this crazy, quicksand, ever-changing early 20s that we're living through. Started May 15th of last year, coming up on the anniversary. Episode 115 today, babies. Anyway, like, subscribe, share it, roll around in it, give it a hug, curl up with it in bed, whatever you need to do. That's the new normal and its commitment to you. Anyway, on the table of contents today, we got some fun stuff. We have, of course, it's Shakespeare's birthday. Of course, it's also St. George's Day. The Brits say Sunt, not Saint. We'll talk about that a little personal remembrance. We'll also talk about, of course, the Derek Chauvin verdict for the murder of George Floyd. That was the big thing that happened this week. And we'll talk about taxes. I still need your help deciding whether or not I should use this guy that I'm told is good. I promised I'd use him. I met him at a party last year. But I don't remember him having a Jamaican accent, and now all of his voicemails to me have a Jamaican accent. And maybe not a very realistic one. So should that disqualify someone? Maybe you can help me. Write in and let me know. And speaking of writing in, that's the other thing. We got letters from you guys. Chief subject among them, hey Steve, how come you're not reading our letters? So, without further ado, let me get on through this. So, as I said, happy birthday, Shakespeare. And happy death day, too, because the Bard was born on the 23rd of April. Tradition has it. They don't know exactly. He was baptized the 26th. But he died on the 23rd of 1616. And so it was convenient. And it happens to be the national day. The Feast of St. George happens, or St. George. That's England's patron saint. And not Scotland, not Wales. It's England. But that's like their national holiday. It's a big deal. So I was there on the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, 2016. And 5 years ago today, and it was a grand old time. I had, it was the Feast of St. George. I had the best grilled cheese sandwich that I think I've ever had. And my friend Dara, living in Chiswick, can confirm that because she had the same one. And what else? So they had 37 stations set up and down the Thames, the River Thames, celebrating, commemorating, giving excerpts from each of his 37 plays. Shakespeare's, that is. But I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I will say, I don't think all 37 deserve their own station. All right? They're not all Hamlet. They're not, I mean, you got your Troilus and Cressida. All right? You got your Cymbeline. All right? I wipe my ass with Cymbeline. Sorry, a little carried away. But think of anything you're a fan of. Zeppelin fans? Really, you're going to go to the mat defending Presence? I don't think so. Michael Jackson fans, you know it wasn't all off the wall and Thriller. I mean, there were lowlights. Hair doesn't look good without highlights and lowlights. And Kanye fans, you know there's a yee once in a while comes out. A yee yay. A yay yee? Yee. Ye olde England is what I'm talking about. Anyway, so while acknowledging that, let's us also say that what if it's an even bigger scam than all of that? Because, hello, that's a hell of a coincidence that Britain's greatest writer, or at least England's, maybe there's some Welsh writer I don't know about, who rivals him and has a lot of L's in his name, or her name, could we all be being gaslighted, right? Like maybe he's really the Sidney Sheldon or the Aaron Sorkin, like good, prolific, perhaps overrated. Maybe it's just very... Oh, you don't say. This Shakespeare was born, this is the Queen speaking, the original, it's a very good spot-on impression of the original Queen Elizabeth. Born on St. George's Day? Let's hype the fuck out of him, shall we? We command it! Used to kill in clubs. Now only the really old people laugh at that one. My Liz Part 1 impression. Anyway, we should look into that. Maybe he wasn't that good. Who can tell the language is so old? Moving on to something less fun. Derek Chauvin got... well, I don't want to spoil it. Let's do a little build-up here. I listened to the news that day, and I'm not normally the guy to listen to these trials. And I'll come back. I'll find out what the result was. But I did listen for the 90 minutes when they said it might be coming out at any moment. The result, the jury is, handing in their verdict to the judge to be read. But I hung in there while the anchors treaded water and repeated the facts that we've heard a million times. And I will say, I was overjoyed not to see this country do the wrong thing again. And I hate to put it that way, but I think you got to put it that way. I feel like really, it's like you ordered a pizza and then the pizza came on time with all the toppings, not turned sideways, still hot, still delicious, but it's different from that in that, let's say you lived in a town and you only had one pizzeria, justice system, and you got it right this time, but half the time, the drunks who run the place, half the time they screw up your order, much more than that if you're not a white customer, and you get the pizza and it's all right, but you can't, and you're like, okay, great, I wish it could be like this all the time. What I'm saying here on the new normal with Steve Benaquist is I think it is far too soon to know whether this is any kind of new normal of the American judicial system holding violent, racist, killer cops responsible for abusing their power. So, let's be happy for what happened and, I don't know, keep plugging away. Right? Right. Moving on to my tax guy, whose name I'm not going to say because my point is not to embarrass him. I don't want to lose him any business. I'm not going to say his name, but I will say this. I met him at a party. A friend recommended that. See, he's a cool guy. He hangs out at my friend's party. Friend uses him for taxes, says he's great. My taxes are a little complicated this year. And so he said, I'm your man. And I don't recall him having a Jamaican accent. Now, granted, that was like last August or something, but he is Asian American. He is from Tennessee. I thought I remembered some slight twang in his voice, but well, let me just play you his latest message, and maybe you can help me out. And here we go.
Goodbye, Steve now. In the Babylon. Hey, it's your CPA, David Young. In case you don't recognize me, I've been trying you. I've been leaving you some messages, and I haven't heard back from you. You know, the tax due date is coming up, and well, let's cut on through it. So I won't pretend that I don't know why you aren't returning my call. I seen your new normal, okay? And I love it, brother. I love it. This is hilarious and informative. It's informative, okay?
Informative?
But, yeah, man, I'm from Tennessee. And I am Asian American. But, what you don't know about me is I've lived nearly half a decade in Jamaica, okay? So there it is. Okay, 3.5 years ago, I bought the timeshare, and for that time period, up to and including 12 weeks a year, I am a resident of Kingston, Jamaica, okay? So it just rub off on me, okay? It's something in my spirit. Get comfortable with it, okay? Accept it. Accept my Jamaican-ness. All right? And return my call. It makes me a little pissed off when, No. Everything is kaya. Bomba close.
So there you have it. I mean, it sounds to me like he's correcting his act. He says, incorporated, then he says incorporated. 12. Have any of you lived in another country for, as he puts it, nearly half a decade? 3.5 years he's at a timeshare, and he spends up to and including 12 weeks a year there. A year there. In Kingston. Or maybe you think that it's fake, but it doesn't matter. I need some advice. So, has anyone dealt with Wacko with a fake accent? And I'm sorry, his name is out there now. I'm sorry, you're not a wacko. Your accent may not be fake, David Yang. Hey, has anyone ever worked with David Yang? Is he your accountant? Anyway, I'm going to staunch the bleeding, stop right there. And I'm sorry, we've run out of time. We don't have time for the letters today. I'm sorry, Pat in Flat Plains, Kansas, but we don't have time to get to you today. Thank you for watching The New Normal. It's Steve Benaquist. And until next time, I'm Steve Benaquist reminding you that if it ain't new, it ain't normal.